You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 20th, 2024 meeting of the Michigan City Board of Public Works and Safety. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good afternoon. I'll call this meeting of the Board of Works and Safety for Monday, May 20th, 2024 to order. I'll call the roll. Mr. Simmons?
Present.
Miss Tisdale?
Present.
Ms. Moore?
Present.
Attorney LePage?
Present.
We have everyone here, and Mr. York is here. We have everyone here. Our first order of business today is approval of minutes from the regular hybrid Zoom meeting of May 6, 2024. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion approved. Our first order of business today is a special event and road closure request from Jeff Miller. Criterion Productions is requesting the following: to host a harvest-themed street festival on September 28th, 2024 from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. on 7th from Franklin Street to Washington Street, and a road closure of 7th Street from Franklin Street to Washington Street for the street festival. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of? Excellent. Please come down front and tell us your name, address, and then tell us a little bit about the project. I'm sorry, the festival. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Miller. My address is 1749 McLean, Glenview, Illinois, 60025. My colleague is Colleen Neubauer. We've been working together for about 20 years or so. We are looking to produce a harvest-themed, family-friendly event here on the 28th of September. Regarding the road closure, we would need to close the streets at about 5 a.m. on the 28th, and we'd release it by 11:59 p.m. that same day. We've been producing events along this same lines for a number of years. It would have live music, food, merchants, a kids area with kids activities, kind of like a street block party, sort of a big block party. And we're very interested in doing something here in Michigan City and growing it into something a little bigger, perhaps, if it's well received.
I will let you guys know this did go through the redevelopment commission. It was approved for use of the lots contingent upon the Board of Works decision. And then I know that you have been working with our events planner, Terry Greetham and Eric as well. So any questions?
Mr. President, just so that you know, Terry Greetham had another commitment and couldn't make it here tonight. But when he was explaining this event to me, he explained it would be similar to partnering like we do with the LaPorte County Convention and Visitors Bureau, and we'll have another separate MOU that goes with it. So, but Terry highly suggested that the board approve this request. He thinks it would be a beneficial event to add to the city's list of events.
You provided a lot of detail for the board. I definitely appreciate that. But one thing I did have a question on, it is for doing bag checks. It says, please use common sense. If someone seems suspicious, check their bags as politely as possible. I would just recommend either checking bags or not checking bags, because someone who's suspicious to one person is not to another, and that opens the door.
I absolutely agree. We do bag checks for everybody who comes in with a bag.
Okay.
This is boilerplate that we've used for our security company for 14 years, maybe.
Okay.
And certainly the Boston Marathon bombings sort of changed the parameters for everybody in bag check. And since then, people have gotten much less belligerent about a bag check. They tend to understand why, but I agree.
Okay, thank you. But again, thank you so much for all the information provided to the board.
Sure, we try to be thorough.
Yeah. Will you have security?
We will.
Yeah. Okay. Is that is it your own private or
It'll be private, but we will have at least one armed guard on site. That's an off-duty police officer. Which particular company, we're still sorting out who it is.
Mhm.
But traditionally, the armed guards are off-duty police officers.
Okay.
So my other question is, is a MOU pending?
That would be another document that we would have with us. I've already talked to Terry about it. I think what the vision was to come in and get the necessary permission that the board agrees with it, and that we get the street closure associated with it. But then we'll have the detailed with the certificate of insurance, the liquor license, and the MOU outlining each party's responsibilities.
Okay. Right.
I'd just like to echo, I think I appreciate the thoroughness. I think this could be used as almost as an example for other events that we have. Terry did too, actually. And I just really, and the redevelopment commission appreciated that too. This is one of the most thorough events plans we've seen. So I really appreciate that. And it makes our job a lot easier when we review it.
That's sort of my view, is if we all know what's actually happening, it's easier to get a handle.
Mhm.
There are a lot of moving parts, so.
Mr. Simmons, the other idea I talked to Terry is this isn't until it's really kind of like an end of summer fest.
Yeah.
That's why we started it right now, was to kind of give us time to put that MOU together as well, and kind of give them time to plan it. You can see there's a lot of moving parts, so get them time to plan where it's anticipated, rather than throwing it together at the last minute. So.
Right, yeah, and just so I'm understanding, can you define MOU just?
Memorandum of understanding. So what'll happen is the city they may enter into some type of contract, but really it's just that is kind of the contract or the bonding contract of between the city and a private individual or company.
Yeah, thank you. It's our first go round with Michigan City, so I'm sure it'll all become clearer.
Any other questions of the board? I'll open it up for public comment.
Hi, this is Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. This sounds like a fine event. However, we always seen too many street closures coming through the Board of Works and the use of city-owned property. You know, it wasn't free in 2018 for us to tear down the old Warworth and Kresge building. It's not going to be free to put in all these electrical hookups they're going to put in at 7th and Franklin. We need to start establishing a fee schedule for the uses of these properties, especially if it's not going to be used for like a charitable event or a nonprofit. I think this is kind of the case with that. But, it seems like we always seem to be giving the store away for free. This could, money could be used for other things. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Hold on one second.
Oh, yeah.
Any other public comments? Anything online? If you would like to come up and rebuttal, you're more than welcome.
Sure, that's a perfectly legitimate question and concern. Terry has expressed to us that there will be fees for the electrical usage, which should help start to offset the costs of the electrical install. We also are looking for a nonprofit partner. We're talking to Save the Dunes to come up with a good working relationship so that we have a nonprofit component to the event.
I appreciate those details. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions of the board? I'll ask one more time. Board comments? Absolutely.
I just want to say we really, truly do appreciate your consideration of Michigan City. I think it's going to enhance so much here. And just as a little overview of some of their projects that they've done previously that some may not be familiar with, but the Chris Kindle Market in Chicago, Doe Division, Goose Island Beer, Half Acre Beer Company, Triathlon Grand Finale, the Joffrey Ballet, Printers Row. There's a whole list of projects that they've already been involved with, and I think it just speaks highly of Michigan City that you want to be here.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. We really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next order of business is a contract. Terry Greetham, Special Events, is requesting the approval of a silver sponsorship of $5,000 for the Michigan City Port Authority, or from the Michigan City Port Authority for the 2024 special event season. Eric, thanks for being here today.
Good afternoon, Board. Eric Williams, Michigan City Special Events. This is just our standard silver partnership with the Michigan City Port Authority. They are a return sponsor, and when approved, this contract will officially surpass last year's totals for the accumulated sponsorships.
Any questions of Mr. Williams on the board? Hearing none, I'll open it up for public comment. Any public comment? Okay, hearing no public comment, I'll close public comment. Pleasure of the board.
Motion for approval?
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
Our next order of business is a traffic control request. Vanessa Fry, 333 Pleasant Ave, is requesting a stop sign or speed bump at Pleasant Ave and Holiday Street. And I do believe Ms. Fry is here to speak to the board. And, your name and address for the record. Thank you.
My name is Vanessa Fry. I live at 333 Pleasant Ave.
Tell us a little bit about what you're requesting.
Well, my request, my concern, the problem. People are not stopping at the stop sign at Holiday and Pleasant. It has increased. So I would like to know the steps that we can take to curtail or help prevent an accident. So that is why I'm here.
Okay. Any questions of Ms. Fry on the board? Go ahead.
Is that where you're talking about? Is that where the railroad track is?
Yes, it's a one-way street and it's right before right at the crossway, train track. Yeah, right there.
Holiday is a one-way
No,
north.
Pleasant is.
Well, Pleasant is the one-way north. Holiday, yep. Sorry, I got them backwards there. That's the double pair through there.
So I just want to know, what can we do?
I believe our city engineer is here to speak to us. And I believe Corporal Wright has looked at it as well, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it all.
Yeah, if there's an issue with traffic not stopping at the stop signs on Holiday, I mean, I guess we could put a cross traffic does not stop sign up on those stop signs on each side. I don't know if they are there now. Do you know, Brian? So maybe that's something we can talk to Sean about, and putting those up on Holiday on both sides, that people know the cross traffic coming northbound on Pleasant doesn't stop. So that's an alternative. But to add another stop sign, if they're running the stop sign on Holiday, they're still going to run the stop sign regardless of what we do on Pleasant.
Got it.
Good afternoon, Board. Brian Wright, Commander of Michigan City Police Department Traffic Division. Looking at this, I'm with him. I mean, regardless of what we do, they're still going to run the stop signs there. So my request would be to have Michigan City Police Department just increase our patrols there. And then I know that our radar trailer, I believe, is still on Risky Ave by like Plum Street. I'll have that moved over to Holiday Street as well, so we can try to work on some of the speeding complaints and everything as well there. So we'll watch the stop sign and try to control speed that way as well.
Okay.
Oh,
Ms. Fry,
yeah,
the floor is yours.
yes. Well, I understand what you're saying about the stop sign. What about a speed bump? I think a stop sign would slow things down. I understand what you're saying. It's not going to stop nothing if they're going to speed past there. But what about a speed bump? Is that possible?
I'll let Mr. Wright, you could take it if you like.
As far as a speed bump, I would have to defer to the street department for that. As far as the stops, I know with the manual on uniform traffic control devices, you can't use a stop sign to control speed. So that's where the issue would be is I understand wanting a stop sign there, but it cannot be used to control speed.
Yeah, and I think I know what Sean's answer is going to be is that we don't do speed bumps because they don't last. And then we hit them with our plow trucks. But Mr. Smith.
Good morning, Sean Smith, Street Director, Michigan City. Theoretically, speed bumps aren't designed to be placed in public roadways due to the MUTCD. If they are, it should be a seasonal, only up during a certain period of time, but for the most part, no.
So, okay, what we're gonna do. I didn't quite hear what we're going to do. I know they said we could not get a stop sign. I heard them say that we could not, the speed bumps.
Yep.
So I was wondering, what can we do?
So it sounds like they're going to put cross traffic does not stop, but I don't know if you're going to control other than having police patrol for speed.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the cross traffic. I didn't understand what you're saying.
So they're going to put a cross traffic does not stop
Okay.
warn people, but as far as speed, it's going to be up to the police at this point.
Basically, it's a warning signage on holiday. Yeah.
Yes, I'm with you. Okay, so we'll look forward to that. Thank you.
Do we need a motion?
Sorry.
No. Ms. Fryer, you're fine.
Yes, because
Mhm.
you're installing
Yes.
a sign that doesn't
Yes.
exist already.
Is that the recommendation of the city? Is that the recommendation of the city engineer? So our recommendation would be that we put on holiday, we install cross traffic does not stop signs. And then we install the monitoring or monitor the speed trailer once it's done at Risky and Plum, and that we just up patrol there from a standpoint of speeding. Sorry, that was a lot. Who wants to make that motion?
Make a motion that
I got another question. I'm sorry. How do we monitor this?
It's going to be the police that monitor this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll look forward to that.
I'll open it up for public comment as well, because we're going to take a motion. So I'm going to close this section. I'm going to open up for public comment before we make a decision.
Yeah, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. The requests for speed bumps come up all the time. They're always denied because we have this weather phenomenon that happens every year called winter time. And the street department has to go out and plow the roads. And you have speed bumps all over. It makes it nearly impossible for them to plow. But the cross traffic does not stop is effective. They put them up on my intersection at Ohio and William. I was having accident maybe 2 times a year there, and I haven't had an accident there in 2 years now. And you might consider the neighbors maybe putting up a Ring video camera just to monitor the traffic and the pedestrian behavior and all that. That's what I've done, and it's done really good for me. If there is an accident, I can show it to the police. Thank you.
Other comments?
Yes, Scott Melantur in Kenwood Place. We get a lot of complaints about traffic driving behaviors in town, and often there's a request for more signage. I certainly agree with the cross traffic does not sign addition to the stop signs, the existing stop signs, but this always comes down to further police enforcement. We have laws. We can't put signs at every single intersection. And I know the board frankly agrees with that. And we do have pretty much a fully staffed police department at this time. And, we just need more enforcement of these hotspots. And generally speaking, it's a couple hotheads that can cause most of the mayhem. So if you can just kind of get them, you probably calm down the area. And it sounds like Fry Street, is that it?
No, it's Pleasant Street.
Pleasant Street it's already a low volume street. If it's a dead end one-way street, there can't be a whole lot of traffic there. But in any case, it's an enforcement matter more than a signage matter, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Anything online? Okay, Ms. Fry.
Well, I was wondering, I see some stop signs, they have lights, lights all on it. Would that help? Like slow them down?
I don't think it would help on Pleasant because we're not suggesting putting
I'm talking about holiday.
on holiday. Yeah, that's what I was getting
Holiday.
there's already we use those stop signs when typically when we are establishing new stop signs to let them know that, hey, a new stop sign's been put in.
Oh, that's for new stop signs.
Typically, yes. Yes.
Oh,
Hearing, I'll close this section of the hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
I just want to add a comment. Yeah, it would behoove the corporal take it back to MCPD. These type of issues should be disseminated in parole. Shift change. Officers should be writing down these hot spots or where we're having speed issues and pay more close attention to those and write more citations. It's just basic police 101.
Any other comments from the board? Is there a motion on this? Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that cross warning signs be put on holiday with more vigilant patrol from the district unit, District 1. Was there another piece to that?
No, it was the cross traffic does not stop signs, typical of the ones downtown and I think on Ohio as well.
Hopefully District 1 can get their pace close attention and write some citations.
okay.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Was that motion clear enough, Amber?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, Ms. Moore.
I certainly do thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Our next order of business is another traffic control request. Ruthelma Leslie, 427 Cole Court, is requesting a dead end sign at the beginning of her block on Tilden Ave. Is Miss Leslie here today? Anyone here to speak on this? I don't know that this is necessarily a traffic control device, other than it is. I think it's more in Sean. I think it's more in your court of do we want to install a dead end sign? A court typically tells you that it's not a through street.
It's typical, it's a cul-de-sac just.
Yeah,
There was no through traffic there. It's a reasonable request, but I would leave that up to the board.
Okay.
If we were to do something like that.
So typically a court, if it's a street, is a through street. If it's a court, means it typically either has a dead end, cul-de-sac, hammerhead, something like that. That's the way we name streets, just for FYI, from a planning standpoint and engineering standpoint. Is there I don't see anyone here to present today. Any comments from the board?
I would just say for civilians, that may not be a common knowledge, so.
That's why I pick
I have a comment. My question that I would ask of her is if this is just a recent experience where there's a lot of people going down that cul-de-sac because there is the road closure that's happened there. And I personally went down there and I apologized to her greatly, but at the same time, I wonder if it's just because it's happening right now as opposed to a regular.
That's a good point, Ms. Moore. There was a main break there, or something happened with the sanitary district. We had to dig it up, and so we had to keep the street closed. That's a good point. What is the pleasure of the board? Do we want to table this, make a decision? I don't think they're here to ask questions. Mr.
Recommend we table it until
the road closure is complete?
Until the road closure complete. That makes sense.
Okay, fair enough. Do we know, Tim, do we have an ETA on road closure?
Week ago.
Okay. Gotcha. Soon.
The rain, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Is that an official motion, Mr. Simmons?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to table this for our second meeting in June or first meeting in June? First meeting in June.
Is that second meeting in June?
Second meeting in June.
Yeah.
That should give plenty of time to get it done, not knowing what the weather's doing. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. We'll table this till the second meeting in June and then see how the traffic has leveled out. Our next order of business is a conflict of interest disclosure. Eric Williams, Assistant Planner of Special Events, is requesting to purchase 150 Sea Sands Sand Sculpting Festival and Washington Park Zoo themed wood ornaments from Shawnee Sheldon's Washington Park Zoo Retail Manager, Independent Business. Mr. Williams, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon again, board. Eric Williams, Michigan City Special Events. So what we're looking to do is actually purchase, these are little trinkets that we would like to give away at our VIP reception on Friday for the Singing Sands Festival. Price wise, Sean has the far and away the best price that I've been able to find. Just to give you a comparison, Sean would be doing 150 of these at $3 a piece. Two different ones that I found online for 154 of them was $831.60 for one-sided. And these are two-sided ornaments. The other one that I found was $900 for 150 of them. Again, also a one-sided ornament. Sean's came in at $450. Unfortunately, Sean is an employee of the Washington Park Zoo, so we can't make this purchase without getting this form approved, is my understanding. And so we're just here today to get that approved.
Any questions of Mr. Williams?
One. How many people usually attend the VIP event?
I'd say right around 150. That's the many we're getting. So we're trying to keep it as close to the number that we're going to have as we can. We'll probably have a couple of extra, but we try to keep it as minimal as we can.
Thank you.
Any issues, any legal issues with this? And I assume that's probably why we're here.
Well, she's following protocol as an employee because she would stand to be paid by the city. She indicated that there would be very little profit though, but she still has an obligation that she has to disclose it, and then the board would have to approve it before that transaction went through. So that's what she's doing, is the correct thing, is disclosing.
Well, and it seems as if the planning department has also done due diligence and received 2 other quotes as well. So.
Any other comments from the board? Hearing none, I'll open it up for public comment. Any public comment? Any public comment online? Okay, I'll close public comment. Do I hear a motion from the board?
Motion to approve.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
Our next order of business is an insurance policy issue or update. Matt Weber and Charlie Keene, General Insurance Services, are requesting the approval of the 2024 Farmers Market insurance policy that will be from May through October of 2024. Good afternoon, Charlie.
Good afternoon, board. Charles Keene, General Insurance Services, 421 Franklin Street. Here today to seek formal approval for the Farmers Market General Liability Special Event Policy. A little bit of brief history on this. Last year, we decided to procure an insurance policy specifically for the Farmers Market event to get out in front of the city's self-funded program. Reason we kind of the background history on this is it's very difficult for some of the vendors at the farmers market to procure insurance. This does not replace insurance for them as a business. This just protects the city in the event of a liability type claim arising out of the farmers market. Annual premium for that is what's in your packet there, $1,256.65. It's not quite an annual policy, but it runs the length of the farmers markets through October.
Any questions of Mr. King from the board? Comments? I think this is a good way to encourage more businesses to come to our farmers market. It bogs down a little bit of overhead for them. Not that they still don't need insurance for
Yeah, they should
themselves,
definitely
but
still buy insurance on
absolutely.
their business.
But it is a way to encourage involvement in the farmers market. So yeah, it's good. Hearing none, I'll open up for public comment. Any public comments? Anything online? Okay, I'll close public comments. Do I hear a motion from the board?
Motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Support.
Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you so much, Charlie.
Thank you.
Our next order of business today is our claims docket for May 20th of 2024. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Our next order of business is a hearing on approval of emergency fees. Christine Vandenberg, Code Enforcement Officer, is requesting approval of emergency fees incurred under the Unsafe Building Act in the matter of a unsafe building structure located at 611 Benton Street. And I'm going to hand this over to Ms. LePage to tell us a little bit about this hearing.
Okay. So President York, we're here to conduct an administrative hearing. The purpose of the hearing, actually there's two. There's this one and the next one following. So I'm just going to kind of set the record for both of them. Both of them are involving the Michigan City Planning and Inspection Department incurring emergency fees. I believe they're for board ups, but I'll let Ms. Vandenberg present the factual basis. But the basis for it is under Indiana's Unsafe Building Act, Indiana Code 36-7-9-9. This board is vested with the authority to decide whether or not the costs incurred by the planning department were reasonable and necessary in the circumstance, and whether they should be affirmed, reduced, or denied. So the procedure we're going to follow for these two hearings will be as follows. The petitioner in this matter, again, is the Michigan City Planning and Inspection Department. They'll be allowed to go first and present any evidence. Thereafter, any respondents would be allowed to present any evidence they would have. After the respondent's done presenting, the planning department would have another opportunity to present any rebuttal evidence. After all evidence is presented, either party can present any final closing statements. This board can render its decision here today immediately, or could take it under advisement and render a decision at a future hearing. In any event, the board will render findings of fact and reduce its decision to a written form. So for purposes of this hearing, this is 611 Benton Street. I know Ms. Vandenberg is here. She's going to be represented by Attorney Ryan Beal. Is there any of the respondents, more specifically, anyone from Infinite Batteries, Inc. present? Seeing none, Attorney Beal, I'll hand the floor over to you.
Thank you. Mr. York, at this time, I think it'd be prudent to table this for the second meeting in June. I think there's one other avenue of service that I need to make upon the property owner, especially since they came into ownership of this property just about a week or 10 days prior to this action being taken. We just want to cover all of the bases.
Okay.
So can this board make a motion to table this and resume this hearing at the second meeting in June?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
With support.
Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Do you want me to introduce the next one, or would you like to do that?
It's up to you, whatever you feel.
The next the next order of business is a hearing on approval of emergency fees. Miss Christine Vandenberg, Code Enforcement Officer, is requesting approval of emergency fees incurred under the Unsafe Building Act in the matter of an unsafe building structure located at 2506 Buffalo Street. And I'm going to hand this over to Ms. LePage to tell the board a little bit about this.
So let me just establish all the parties present. Again, Ms. Vanderberg is here. According to the petition, it looks like the proper respondents would be any unknown heirs and devisees of Alfred Fulkerson and Carolyn Fulkerson, and also the mortgagee, which is U.S. Bank National Association. Is anybody present either in person or represented by attorney with either of these two entities?
Yes, Attorney Ian Flora here today from U.S. Bank.
Sir, do you mind using the microphone? Everything that we have is being recorded. Thank you so much.
Yes, Attorney Ian Flora here for U.S. Bank.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Ms. Vanderberg and Attorney Bill, are you ready to proceed as well?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Vanderberg, let me swear you in under oath. Thank you for raising your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that and affirm under the pains and penalties of perjury that testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Attorney Beal?
Thank you. Christine, could you state your name and the duties you have with the city?
Christine Vandenborg, Code Enforcement Officer for City of Michigan City.
And are you familiar with 2506 Buffalo Street?
I am.
And how are you familiar with this property?
It's been a continual case since August of 2023 for the condition of the property.
Okay. And do you know who the property owners are?
Both the property owners are deceased at this time. Fulkersons were the property owners, and now it's been taken over by a bank,
Okay.
the mortgagee.
And that was Alfred and Carolyn Fulkerson?
That's correct.
Did they have a son who maybe you had some contact with also?
Yes,
And did you later learn that he's also deceased?
correct.
That was in end of October 2023?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you come in contact with anybody else that was related to the property owners who kind of took the property in hand to try to make sure no waste happened to the property?
No way would, I tried reaching out via mail to the original son, hoping that he had extended family, and nobody's contacted me back in regards to any kind of.
So to the best of your knowledge, there are no known heirs in the vicinity that have claimed any interest in this property?
That's correct.
Okay. February of 2024, did you have to take some emergency action at 2506 Buffalo Street?
We did.
And what was that?
The garage door, the large garage door to allow cars in and out, was damaged, and people were dumping all their garbage. So there's continual fly dumping in the garage, and neighbors were concerned with the fact that people are going in and out of this garage, maybe start off fire hazard, people living in it possibly.
Was the property vacant at the time?
It was.
Okay. And property is currently in a foreclosure, is that correct?
That's correct.
So when you took this emergency action, what'd you have done?
I had called up a board up company that we use to have the property boarded up in a timely manner.
And that's the invoice for that company that was presented with the requests that we made with the board.
Correct.
And that amount was $1,080.78.
That's correct.
Okay. Do you believe that you needed to take this action because there was an immediate danger to the health or safety of the public?
Yes.
Yeah, and why is that? And I mean, I think you've stated a few things that people are going in and out.
People are going in and out. It's been a dilapidated property for quite some time, and the final straw was when garbage was being dumped in the garage itself and being dragged out, pretty much like someone dump it and then drag it out into the alleyway.
And there's properties next door.
Correct.
Okay.
On either side.
Possible fire hazard to the.
Possible fire hazard, other concerned people living in it. There's a numerous homeless population that we do have people taking over other vacant properties, so.
And so do you believe that the means you took to secure the property were necessary at that time?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And are you asking the Board of Public Works today to affirm that the actions that you took and the costs that it incurred?
That's correct.
Thank you. And just as a side note, as Ms. Vanderborg testified to, the property owners are deceased, their son is deceased. We provided notice of this meeting today via publication 2 times in Herald Argus at the appropriate times to allow for any unknown errors in LaPorte County to be notified. And also U.S. National Bank, who's a mortgage holder on the property, was notified via certified mail, and they have a representative here today.
Council, do you have any further questions? You're welcome to use the microphone right here. Right.
Certainly don't mind seeing.
Okay, okay.
No, I don't have any questions for the code enforcement officer. I mean, in fact, he seemed very reasonable. I have no objections to those. I just wanted to let the board know that we have a foreclosure judgment in this case. We have a sheriff sale date of July 3rd. So if a third party buys it, then they'll be responsible for paying the liens. If we get it back, then we'd actually have a legal right to enter the property and start protecting it ourselves. But at this point, the only one with the legal right to be on there is your employees.
Thank you. Anything else, council? Good?
No.
Okay. Anything else, Attorney Beal?
And board, I guess just to let you know, this is kind of the initiation of a claim that could ultimately end up with these costs being placed upon the tax duplicate of the property, means of collecting it.
Go ahead. Any questions?
Any questions of the board? So it seems like we're moving, the US Bank is they're working through the process. And gotcha.
Do you need a microphone? Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
You have to turn it on the bottom.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So on July 3rd, it's pending and either be bought by a third party.
It's not picking up.
Okay. So on July 3rd, there will be finality. Either a third party will buy it and then they'll, to get a clean title, be responsible for the fees, or the bank will buy it back. And at that point, we'd be responsible for the fees. And then we'd have our own people start taking over maintenance and repairs as necessary to make it safe for the other people in Michigan City.
That sounds good.
Good.
Yeah. I like having a plan. That sounds good. What decision do we need to make today?
So it's either the pleasure of the board that they could render a decision right now today, where that decision could be affirming the emergency cost incurred by planning, reversing or reducing, or the board could take it under advisement and render a decision at a future meeting.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I know I drove by that property, so I definitely affirm the planning department's decision. I make a motion to support.
For a second?
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Vanderberg. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here as well. Thank you.
So,
Our next update today, we have an update, and I don't see Flaherty. I don't see Dave Albers out here, but I do see Brad out here. Brad, could you please come? I'm sorry, I'm going to put you on the spot. Could you please come up here and just let everyone know? Mr. Wright, you may be aware of this too. I think David Albers let you know about the they're going to start the deliveries coming up. And then can you talk about the posting and then give us kind of an update of where they're at, how far out they are?
Sure. Brad Minicasa Associates. They had started stockpiling their precast members at the hospital site at Wabash and Barker earlier this month. And their intention is to start shipping those for the last leg of the journey the day after the holiday, next Tuesday.
Okay. I would still, I know Chris asked me today, Ms. Vanderberg asked me today about noticing. I'd still like our code enforcers to go out and notice, but I'm trying to time that for like a 2 days before one. I feel like if we give it to them too early, they're going to forget. So I'd like to flag like maybe 2 days prior to doing that, or at least prior to the week to the holiday.
Right.
Could you just make sure that we do that. Remind me to do that, to tell Chris to go out and do that, but I'm still going to committed to do that. And at least we'll come up with a little flyer and flag. And worst case scenario, we stick it on the door and let them know.
Sure.
Anything else with Colin?
Just a reminder that that's going to involve northbound traffic in the southbound lane.
Correct.
In the area of Green Street. The beams will be crossing over to make that wide turn onto 10th Street.
Okay.
For that to go northbound on Wabash Street in that area. So it's a block and a half, I think. But they'll have extra traffic control there for that movement.
Okay.
And they were looking at, I believe, basically a 10 or 15 minute closure every hour for the 8 or 10 hour production days they were going to have for the beam deliveries. So,
okay. And Corporal Wright, you don't have to come up here, but Mr. Albers has been keeping you in check with everything. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you for working with him. The crane is going up today. I think I saw him on site with putting the crane up today. So it's exciting to see this thing come together. Any questions of the board?
Yes, define flag.
Flagger
or flagger.
Flags?
Or you said code enforcement would be going out.
I didn't mean flag. No, I meant noticing. Sorry, it's the end of the day. I'm so sorry. Noticing. They will be noticing. I'm going to have them just notice the neighbors that are adjacent. We did notice. We provided notice, if I'm not mistaken.
No parking signs along the route.
And we've already done that, but I want to make sure that the neighbors to do something a little bit more on a personal level. Any other questions of the board? Do I need to open this up for public comment?
It was just an update. Yeah.
Open it up? No.
You're Mr. President.
Yeah, I'll open up for public comments if there are any. Anything online? Okay, hearing none. I'll move on to unfinished business. Pending items. We have a petition to buy city-owned property. Austin Tabor at 214 East 9th Street is petitioning to purchase a city-owned lot at 9th Street. Parcel ID 4601-29434022-000022. This was tabled for May 6th, 2024. I know that we had a very hard time finding the deed to this thing.
I worked with real estate. We've got a legal. So I've got that. So I don't know if you want to speak first before I speak, but
I don't really have any comment.
Okay,
Excited
Mr.
to know if I can
Tabor?
buy it.
Yes, this
Okay,
is Mr. Tabor.
okay.
If you want to introduce yourself, just in case you have questions.
Austin Tabor, 214 East 9th Street.
Okay. All right, board. So I had the opportunity to do a little research. One, when we get requests like this, I go to the various city departments to make sure that no one has an objection. Obviously, the first place I start is with planning. I spoke with Mr. York. He said that the city does not have an objective from his standpoint because it's not a buildable lot. And then I reached out to all the other department heads and no one has an objection. So moving forward, I did obtain a legal. I worked with real estate, our LaPorte County real estate office, who was awesome helping me get this together. But for purposes of today, if the board does desire to put this for sale, Indiana statute allows, because it is an adjacent property and to Mr. Tabor, and because the assessed value is under $6,000, there's some special requirements that this board could do. In a general case, if someone comes in front of this board and asks to purchase real estate, generally we're bound by getting 2 appraisals and then setting the offering price at the lowest of the 2 appraisals. Because it's assessed under that $6,000, we don't have to do that. So what this board would do if you want to offer it for sale, you have to still establish the offering price. It could be $200 as it is assessed at. But what I would ask that you do is at least set $100 so that I could recoup our publication and recording expenses on it. So if you, like I said, if you would like to set it at $200, then there'd be a small profit. If not, it's your desire. The second thing I need the board to do is just make a finding that it would not be feasible to get to appraisals in this case. Given the assessed value, we're probably just wasting money. I still have to give notice to all adjacent property owners, and we still have to publish this and give anybody the right to bid on it. But if no one from the general public bids on it, and then it'll just come down to the adjacent owners, and we would have the right to even negotiate with them. But the adjacent owners can submit a bid as well. The third thing I would need the board to do is I've already prepped the notice of publication and the bid form, assuming the board does want to put this up for sale. So I would need you to approve those forms as well.
Do I hear any comments from the board?
Just a quick question is how long has that property been vacant for years and years and years?
It's been a long time. I don't know if we even know that we owned it. I see Will back in the back with his hand up. Maybe he can shed some light. Introduce yourself.
William Walker, 219 East 9th Street. Austin is my neighbor. He's an awesome neighbor, and that lot has been there forever. I mean, I live in the house that my wife grew up in, so we used to play in the lot. I'm actually an adjacent owner. I own the lot that's right next to the lot that he's trying to purchase as well. And that's always been like an empty city lot. It used to be where everybody dumped like their sticks and grass and stuff where a city could just come pick it up. So him trying to add it to his lot enhances Elston Grove as a whole, I think. Takes it away from being a dumping spot.
To our knowledge, we've owned it for, I don't even know that we knew we owned it for a long time. So, I don't know. It is just so for the boards, Ms. LePage did ask all of the adjacent or all the utilities to comment on this. My comment on this was that it isn't a buildable lot with respect to it doesn't have frontage. You couldn't just build a house on it. It's very small. It's on an alley. It has to have a frontage on a public street. The other issue is that now if it could be combined with a lot, as Mr. Tabor has alluded to, and then it becomes a lot more usable space. But also the important piece of it is that Mr. Tabor takes on the responsibility of putting it back on the tax rolls as part of his lot from a city standpoint, or whomever else purchases it. So, what's the pleasure of the board? What are the steps we need to do one more time?
So I outlined them in my letter here, set the offering price. The second thing is just make a determination. I would just say it's just not justifiable for us to proceed and get to appraisals. And also the board needs to approve my bid form and notice of publication.
Okay, I make a motion that we do an offering price of $200. Being that it isn't feasible to offer an appraisal being that it's under 6,000. Is that correct?
Yes. And also approve my notice and bid form.
And also would like to approve your
notice and bid form.
Notice and bid form.
Support.
Do I need to open this up for public comment before we vote?
You didn't already, did you?
No, I didn't.
Open it up real quick.
Yes, I'll open this
You
up.
opened it up.
I'm so sorry. I will open it up to public comment.
Yeah, Tommy Kolavic, 1316 Ohio Street. If you want to know the history of any property, you do a title search. It's pretty much common for any real estate transaction. And I say, just go ahead and let them get it back on the tax rolls. As far as combining the property, that's done for free through the auditors. I've just had that done with my two adjoining parcels. I think the women are Donna Bell and Cookie Meyer at the county auditor. They did a really fine job. I didn't have to pay a fee or nothing. They just 3 days later they had it combined. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Hearing none, I'm gonna. Sorry, Scott. Sorry about that.
Scott Melanturner, Kenwood Place. I was trying to look it up on Google real fast, and I just conferred with Taylor over there. Yeah, this is a useless lot. It's behind his property. It's not on 9th Street. I recommend the board let him buy it and make it useful. Make his place bigger and better. Just like Michigan City.
Any other public comment? Hearing none, I'll close public comment, and I'll ask the board I'll call the roll. We have a motion on the floor, so I'm going to call the roll. Mr. Simmons? Aye. Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. All right, our next order of business is a traffic control device. This is unfinished business tabled from May 6, 2024. Councilman Don Prespolinski is requesting to install flashing stop signs at Barker Ave in Ohio. Good afternoon, Mr. Prespolinski.
Good afternoon, board members. City Councilman Don Prespolinski. And I just I'm coming up here and thanking the board today, and also thanking Street Superintendent Sean Smith for number one, approving the installation of the light, and number two, for Mr. Smith of getting the lights, flashing stop signs put in. It's done, and it didn't cost the city anything because they were being used elsewhere, and we changed them out. And the neighbors already got 3 or 4 calls from the neighbors in the area, and they appreciated very much getting this done. So thank you. And thank you again, Mr. Smith.
Any comments from the board?
I would also like to thank Sean. He's always expedient in requests like that.
And efficient, I would say. Yes. Any other comments from the board? I'll open up for public comment.
Tommy Kolavic, 1316 Ohio Street. Yeah, they put a whole bunch of those along 9th Street when it was reconverted back to two-way traffic. There's maybe about 3 or 4 of them that aren't working. They're not functioning anymore. These are quite expensive, and I think they should all be at least all working if you're going to be using them. It's kind of useless not have them if they don't work. So they need to get out there and spot check them and get them all working again. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Hearing none, I'll close public comment section. Do we need to move this off of our table, off of our pending list? Do I hear a motion? This is a completed project. Do I hear a motion to remove?
I make a motion that we remove this off the pending item list.
Support.
Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
The chair votes aye as well. Our next order of business is a tabled item from November 6, 2023. This is a street enhancement. Paul A. Prespolinski of 1716 Washington Street is requesting to have the road fixed at Washington Street and 11th Street from the double track heading north. I don't know. I think Brad. I see his bag back there, but there he is. Sorry, Brad. I think this might be on the. I feel like this one is part of the punch list thing. I don't remember if it is or not.
Correct. I'll just bundle the response all together. So as of about an hour ago, I had not received a response from the NICD construction inspection team. They acknowledged the punch list and they're developing a response. But I have not received it yet from them. So I would ask that this be tabled until the second meeting in June on the 17th.
Any questions or any comments from the board?
Motion to table it to June the 17th, pending notification from NICD.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. I am going to open it up for public comment. Any public comments? Any at all? Going once, going twice? Any online? Okay, I'm going to close public comment. And there's a motion on the floor. I'm going to call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, Brad. Our next order of business is a street enhancement. Daniel Radke of 508 East 2nd Street is requesting to install a curb gutter and possibly a sidewalk to the east side of Taylor Street at 216 Taylor Street. This was tabled from November 7th, 2023, and I do believe this involves a flooding issue or a water issue. Do we have any update on that? I know we talked to sanitation. I don't see them here today. Any update? Okay, then I guess we just leave this on the pending item list till the second meeting in June, I guess. Seems like everything's being pushed to that. Is there any comments from the board? Any thoughts from the board? Okay. Do I hear a motion to keep this on the pending list until
Motion to keep it on the pending list until June 17th.
17th? Yeah. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any public comment from this? Okay. Hearing none, motion is on the floor. I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right, our final piece of pending requests. This is tabled from April 15th, 2024. This is a traffic control request. Councilman Tim Beatry of 3211 Cleveland Ave is requesting to revise the stop signs at the following intersections. Tilden Ave and Cool Spring, make it a one-way stop on Tilden going south. Cleveland Avenue and Cool Spring Ave, make it a four-way stop. And I do believe Mr. Beatry is here.
Thank you, board. We talked about this a month ago or so, and I talked briefly with Brian before the meeting here. The study that you guys recommended and that I thought was a good idea, traffic flow study, never really got done because the equipment wouldn't work. And so I guess we're back to where you need to make a decision on what you'd like to do. I'd reiterate, this is not recommending additional stop signs. This is moving two that are there to another location. And it has really nothing to do with accidents either. It's a traffic flow issue for me and for everyone else who's there. If we delay and put the equipment up once it does work, I think it's silly to do it in June because school's out then, and school's only out for 3 months, and there's way more traffic during the other 9 months than during the 3 in the summer. So I guess it's kind of up to you guys, although Brian probably wants to talk to.
Corporate.
And I found out today that some people weren't getting my emails. I don't know if you guys did, as far as the equipment with us getting new computers and needing passwords to basically do everything that you need to do on our computers. I'd go set up the equipment. I'd need to download something. So I had to go back to the police department and get a password. And it was just a back and forth issue that I'm still working on. With that said, I was not able to get the equipment working properly yet. I've been trying diligently to do so and intend to still get that done. As far as that goes, though, my concern is with taking the stop signs out at Cool Spring and Tilden, kind of like we had discussed in the last meeting, people on their private property have some view obstructions. So my concern would be if eastbound and westbound traffic on Cool Spring does not stop at that intersection and someone goes to pull out from Tilden onto Cool Spring, there's a chance that, you know, with the timing and everything, they may not see that person because of the obstructions, and that may cause a crash. That is my concern with that. And with the view obstructions being on private property, it's something we can't really deal with. As far as Cool Spring and Cleveland, like I had said, there have been over the last 5 years, 6 crashes there. Only 2 of them are related to the stop sign there. 2 of those crashes in the last 5 years were for somebody pulling out from Cleveland to cross Cool Spring, and that's how those crashes happened. I know that the tree had been removed from the southeast corner of that intersection. I had spoke with former traffic commander Jeff Lineski about this because I guess this has been in front of the board before, at which point it was denied as well. So I do know that is a busier area through there. I at least would suggest we do not remove the stop sign on Cool Spring and Tilden. With the obstructions there, I could see that being an issue for us in the future. Otherwise, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I don't know if you have anything to say about this either from the engineering standpoint, but that's where I'm at on that.
So your recommendation from the, make sure we understand, is to not remove the stop sign, and then what about, is there a recommendation on?
I'll go off of email I received from the engineer once.
Okay, fair
If
enough.
it's not broke, don't fix it.
Tim Warner, city engineer. I don't know what engineer said that, but I agree. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But yeah, it is a little bit broke there just because traffic backs up on Cleveland coming down to Cool Spring from the south. I live right there, just the next block to the east on Cool Spring in Maple, and I really wish that the Tilden stop was gone as well, but it's hard to remove a stop, as I mentioned before, once it's in place, just because everyone is used to that traffic on Cool Spring stopping at Tilden. If the board wants to look at putting a stop sign up the next block over at Cleveland to stop traffic on Cool Spring so Cleveland traffic can clear easier, that's something. But again, we don't really know the traffic counts yet to see what is happening as far as levels of service. They're currently just one stop as opposed to stop on Cool Spring. So I guess it's the board's call. Engineering wise, it will work better possibly with a stop at Cleveland and Tilden, but until we really see the traffic counts, we won't know if that two stops right one block apart is going to really have a negative impact on Cool Spring traffic.
Okay. Any comments from the board? Any questions from the board? Miss.
I also travel the Cleveland corridor, and it is always backed up and very difficult to get out. I think something should be done personally, but I don't know about taking, I think we should put stop signs there at Cleveland. I don't know until the traffic thing comes up if we can make a recommendation about taking the Tilden stop sign away. Maybe we could go ahead and incorporate the stop signs at Cleveland.
So the four-way at Cleveland and Cool Spring.
And yes, and then possibly we do a traffic study later to address your concerns when school's back in session or at some future time to make a determination then on Tilden. But in the meantime, have both. Suggestion, I don't know.
Well, I know I don't travel that intersection just because it is so congested and I refuse to make a left-hand turn off of Cleveland onto Cool Spring. So it is an issue.
I concur. It is an issue. I've experienced it as well. So I'm just kind of, to the point of, I would like a traffic study though to help me make this decision.
But again, Mr. Beatrice brings up a good point. Once
Yeah.
school's out in a couple weeks, we'd have to wait until school gets back in session in August to get an accurate one if we want to wait for a traffic study.
So it sounds like they're leaning toward the four-way. Don't we all? I guess I don't know if I have a recommendation for this. Yeah, we'll get there. Let's open it up for public comment, see what the public thinks, and we'll go from there.
How you doing? All right. Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. I travel down Cleveland and turn off on Cool Spring. It's starting to become very dangerous there. People hate to wait in line to get on, to get on to Cool Spring Avenue. It's bad. We don't need a traffic study. All you gotta do is go out there on any given Saturday or Sunday, and you'll be waiting in line if you're coming down, if you're on Cool Spring, coming back from Lowe's. The line and people are impatient, they're going around cars, it's gonna cause a problem sooner or later. I've never seen that many cars before, the last couple of years have been bad. But I guess it's mean more people in our town, right? I don't know, but we don't need a traffic study. This is a no-brainer. We need to put up, another stop sign, make it a four-way. Thank you.
Yeah, Tommy Kalabi, 1316 Ohio Street. The issue I always have with that intersection of Cool Spring and the Cleveland Avenue is when you're coming northbound on Cleveland, the Cleveland Avenue Jeddons is about maybe 10 yards to the right. It's not a straight intersection shot. You know, I don't know if there can be anything done with an engineering standpoint there, but I agree. I think there ought to be a four-way stop put in. That should have been done a long time ago. Thank you.
Scott Melantur in Goodwood Place. I'm very familiar with that intersection as well. And I also agree, we don't need a traffic study. Honestly, Cleveland is a problem. I would also point out that maybe when school's out is a good time to make a change where traffic counts are lower, give people time to adjust, probably add some temporary signage that, you know, maybe it's one of those new flashing signs, which I wouldn't want in front of my house, but if it's a new sign, maybe some signage at Tilden if we do remove signs. I don't know if there's any kind of approved signage for we've taken a sign away. Here's a sign saying we've taken a sign away. But I would point out that we have a very similar intersection situation just to the north of Greenwood Cemetery on Barker Avenue, where Tilden is a one-way stop, Barker Avenue runs through, and then Poplar is a one-way stop, and Barker runs through. So I think people can handle a one-way stop with a busy street, you know. For the flow, you know, Cleveland needs it. I don't think we need a study, but two stops in a row on a main street would be aggravating, I think. And the obstruction is the minor obstruction on the private property. It's a bush in the corner of their lot, and it's the same situation you find almost at any city intersection. I made very careful note of it when I went home from the meeting a month ago. If you're stopped at the stop line where you're supposed to legally stop, you don't have a clear vision of Cool Spring. But if you creep forward, like most people do to get a vision, you have a normal vision of Cool Spring. I'd also point out a traffic study wouldn't be accurate now because Tilden is shut down. So Cleveland clearly has a problem. People can handle one-way stops. Make a bold plan. We can handle it. Thank you.
So I'll go back to my original thought. Always make it Tilden make it stop only on Tilden, and a four-way stop there at Cool Spring, Cleveland Ave, Cool Spring Ave.
Is that in the form of a motion?
Form of a motion, yes.
So our motion on the floor is to remove the two-way stop at the three-way stop at at Tilden, and make it a one-way stop at Cool Spring. Cool Spring would flow through on both two-way, and then once you got to the corner of Cleveland and Cool Spring, we would have a four-way stop. Okay. Do I hear a second? I'm sorry. I'll close public comment. Mr. Beatry, I'll give you. Yeah, go ahead.
Just briefly, I agree that the obstruction is a bush, and even now, I mean, it's bushed out. It's not that big a deal. You don't have anything. You have that all over town, and I think that Gene's idea is good, and I think the one stop sign on Tilden heading south. So you put the stop sign there, and you put crosstown traffic doesn't stop. And then take the ones that Cool Spring out and put the 4 down. That's what I'm asking for in the first place. So I'm I'm with you, Gene.
I heard you're trying to second it. Do I?
Yeah, can we do the crossway warning?
I think that's a really
as
good
well.
point to do that. Just as a warning, absolutely, Mr. Warner.
Yeah, if I may, what I'd like to suggest is if we're going to remove stops on Cool Spring at Tilden, that we put up some like advance warning of a 30-day notice to the users there that, hey, 30 days from now, on whatever date, July 4th or what, just before the holiday or something, the stop sign is going to come down, and but we'll have the ones up at Cool Spring and Cleveland already.
Looking at Sean, do we have something like that?
We'll have to make something special.
Okay. I think that's a really good idea. So Mr. Simmons has made a motion. Do I hear a second? Or any other comments?
And just so I'm clear, I believe that motion included the addition of the cross traffic does not stop.
Yes.
Okay.
Do I hear a second? And then we can have some discussion if there's other discussion.
Second.
Is there any other discussion on this? Okay, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Miss Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Do we need a motion to take this off of our pending items list? Or are we good?
Do you want it off or do you want to wait till it's actually?
Let's get it put in, and that's a good point. Let's get it put in and see how it works. Sean, I'm not gonna put you on the spot and say when can you get it done, because it seems like a lot to do. But let's push this out for an update maybe to our June 17th meeting. Yeah, why not? Does that seem reasonable to you, Mr. Smith? Okay. We're good with that? Okay. I will, okay, at this time, I will open it up for public comment.
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. There are some empty lots over in our neighborhood, right across the street from Union Street. The grass is almost 4 feet high now. Everybody in our neighborhood has cut their grass. That grass was always cut last year. These lots are large, and I'm tired of looking at them. This is something that I reached out to Mr. Kelly, and he said that he's waiting to speak to you to find out who's the person that owns it. But if you look on Beacon, it's easy to see that it's LLC. We should be able to notify them, and then they come cut their grass right away. Next is Burnham Brewery. We have cars cutting through the parking lot, cutting through the yards, the vacant fields, forgive me. As you know, if you don't know, one of our shot spotters got ran over by, that was on the corner of Cook and Cook and 12. It's down, it's gone now. So I wonder if who's gonna pay for that? More wasted tax dollars for some nonsense. We have 2 empty lots over there that I hope that redevelopment reach out to the owners and try to negotiate some kind of temporary parking so we can keep them out of our residential neighborhood. It's just becoming too much over there. And again, it's been a couple of weeks now. I haven't been feeling well. So I'm here now to just say that some of the parking when Burnham has an event, some of the people are out of control. They're disrespectful to us when we ask them not to park in front of our homes or go park right on the next street. We almost got into a couple of fights. Something needs to happen before something bad happens. With that being said, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Afternoon again, Councilman Don Przybylski. A few items. The first 2 deal with the new bus stops that have been put in, and the bus stop shelters are beautiful, and the city did a great job on that. My concern is the location of some of these bus stops. The number 1 is the one on Woodland Ave and Barker Road. They're at McCurvey's Car Wash. And if you pull up to it, if you stop where you're supposed to stop by the stop sign and you look to the left, your field of vision isn't what the legal field of vision is supposed to be. I believe it's 150 feet. You're supposed to be able to see down the roadway. Well, that's not the case. And I know I talked to Brad Minnick, and him and I went out and took a look at it after this was installed. And he said what he thought his recommendation was gonna be is to take the stop bar that's on the blacktop and move it closer to the intersection. Well, that hasn't been done either. So I would like the street department or the city planner, whoever installed these bus stops, to go and take a look at it. And if they need to be moved, then let's take the money and move it. We have ARP money left here that we're trying to find avenues to spend on. So maybe we need to do that to get these in the proper position. The other one is at Franklin Street and Alfred Street, right there by the I'm trying to think of the name of the college, Ivy Tech. It's right by Ivy Tech. So if you pull up to the intersection there and you look south, your field of vision is blocked. You have to pull out almost within 5 feet of being in the northbound lane to actually see the traffic coming northbound. That needs to be reviewed and possibly moved back. I don't think moving the stop bar up closer to the intersection is going to correct that. Okay, those are 2 items there. And I just got a text today on this one. Paz Road, when Reith Riley came through and did Paz Road, that the individual showed me a picture of a lot of busted up blacktop that's laying along the shoulder of the road, that if we could contact Reith Riley to go back from Woodland Ave all the way down to Johnson Road, wherever they blacktop, and come by and clean the shoulder of the roads off to get rid of that, that would be appreciated. And the third item, not a major earthquake item, but I did mention it at the last Board of Works meeting about these 3 flags in the Arts District that are ripped and tattered and need to be taken down. So what I'll do is I'll give you the locations of them so that we can get that on the record. And the first one is US 12 in Pine Street, which is located just here on the southeast corner of City Hall. So that's one. The other one sits right here by Galveston's as you come around a curve right here on Pine Street. You got Galveston's to the right. That one's ripped in half, almost ripped in half. It's being held together by a 1/2 inch of thread. And then the other one is on the corner of 2nd and Wabash Street, right by the corner of the post office. So if those could be taken down, it would make our downtown area look a little neater than what it does with tattered flags blowing in the wind. So thank you. Yep.
Yeah, Tommy Polavic, 1316 Ohio Street. I have a little complaint and a public service announcement. Saturday, there was about a 4th team of sales crew from Verizon going door to door, trying to get everybody to switch over from Comcast to Verizon. You don't go door to door in the city selling unless you come here and get a permit from the Board of Works, and they got to pay, I think, $100 fee. That's subject to a $100 fine. Then my public service announcement is, if you have a student in the Michigan City area schools, you qualify for free internet from Comcast through their Internet Essentials program. The reason for that is, about 13 years ago, we got on the CEP program where the students all get free lunch at schools. There's one of the Summer Song ice cream truck. I've never seen them come before the Board of Works and get a mobile food vendor permit. I saw them at the park Saturday. They were just sitting there. That's not fair to others like the Slice Heaven, Mr. Landtroop that always come here, Wilkin that does it right. And they're the Summer Song. They're not even based out of Michigan. They come here they're actually headquartered in Indianapolis, and their base is over in Highland. I think maybe we should have a local Michigan City people start an ice cream truck service. I think we should allow them to do that. I don't think that'd be a problem. just I want to say is it's that time of year again. This is under 54-231 of the Michigan City Municipal Code. Fireworks. Displays as set forth by state law include where you can discharge your fireworks in the city limits. Fireworks displays are set forth by state law, including the hours between 5 p.m. and 2 hours before sunset from June 29th to July 3rd, and from July 5th to July 9th, 10 a.m. to midnight. Then on the 4th of July, it's from 10 a.m. It's from 10 a.m. to midnight on the 4th of July. And they say you can also set them up for from midnight to 1 a.m. on New Year's Eve. You know, it also states it's a nuisance to use or discharge fireworks which causes serious annoyance to a neighborhood or residents therein by loud, frequent, habitual noises declared to be a nuisance. It is unlawful for any person to conduct such activities. It's also very disturbing to the pets. It scares them violently. I just want to remind everybody go out and enjoy the Food Truck Fest this weekend up in Federer's Alley. There's going to be probably about maybe 20 of them up there. And go out and patronize the farmers market from 8 a.m. to noon every Saturday until October. 8th in Washington. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Hi, Scott Melantur in Kenwood Place. To comment with two matters that came before the board earlier today. One citizen requested a do not enter sign for her cul-de-sac. I would just like to point out the roads are public, and even though you live on a dead-end street, you might see cars occasionally that you're not used to. It doesn't require a sign saying, don't come here. I think I made the mistake of turning into one of those cul-de-sacs because the road was closed and I didn't know. The other thing is concerning the banners that Mr. Prisbalinski brought up. Instead of just taking down, do we have a budget for new ones? I mean, summer's coming. Do we have the patriotic banners or the student athlete banners, or we just have a new NFL person from town? Do we have a budget to replace the banners seasonally to keep them current and clean and in good condition? Thank you.
Can say again.
I'll let you talk again.
Yeah, Tommy Klavic, 1316. As far as the student banners, I know that word because I've had like tons of student athletes go through the high school. That's actually paid for through the Booster Club. I know the student and their family pay like they're like $60 worth of Graphic Arts make them. Then we pay like half. The student pays half and the Booster Club pays half. And for football during the fall, they're displayed at Ames Field at the entry gate for both the football players and the cheerleaders. And the rest of the year, they're displayed in the Wosden gym. That way, when they put them out and they're like I said, they get damaged. And you know, when the season's over, the banner is given to the students. So that's the deal on that. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Anything online? Go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Sally Litbay. I'm an owner at 100 Lakeshore Drive in Michigan City, Dunescape Beach Club Phase 1. Is this, okay, that's better. Okay, sorry. I'm speaking today to address an issue regarding a memorandum of understanding signed on December 28th, 2023, between Mayor Dwayne Perry, Skylar York, and Sue Downs for the city of Michigan City, and Peter Urban from Dunescape Beach Club Condominiums Phase 1. There is no indication that the MOU was approved at a public meeting. This MOU mandates a structural engineering review of a retrofit plan and approves an agreement with Dr. Robert Swally for this purpose. While the MOU states that it was reviewed and approved by the Michigan City Planning and Inspection Department, it's crucial that such agreements undergo transparent scrutiny and approval processes under the state of Indiana's open door law. As residents invested in the well-being and future of Michigan City, we deserve transparency, accountability, and adherence to proper procedures in all matters concerning public works, including the approvals necessary to meet existing building codes for issuance of building permits, and any agreements that impact our community. No department of Michigan City should be permitted to bypass open public procedures to facilitate special interests. Therefore, I urge the board to revisit this issue, conduct a thorough review, and ensure that such agreements receive the necessary scrutiny and approval in public board meetings. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
My name is Bob Pollock. I and my wife, born and raised here in Michigan City, came back, and we've been here and we've resided at Dunescape for about 25 plus years. I came down to endorse what Sally is saying. I think we need a public hearing that people can attend from Dunescape, and obviously it's public from anywhere else in Michigan City, but certainly from Dunescape, because we seem to have a difference between two very qualified engineers, but only one of them is a structural engineer. And I would like in this public hearing for those engineers to go over exactly what they are proposing in terms of how they intend to fix balconies that have been red tagged now for 2 years. And I'm sure most of you are aware that one of the value parts of any condominium situation are the balconies where people can sit out, see the sunsets, do that type of thing. We need a thorough discussion of the engineering recommendations that are being made. We need to make that in public and before the people of Dunescape. I just have one other thing that I'd like to read. It's only one sentence. This was written to Dunescape on August the 11th, 2023. Signed sincerely, Skylar York. And he has a standard in here which I thoroughly agree with. Let me read it. It's only one sentence. If you would like me to read more, I certainly can, but let me just read the standard. He says in here, we believe that an engineered retrofit would, keyword, guarantee the safety of the residents and structural integrity of the building. I like that word guarantee. That's something that should be part of a standard that is adopted on any of these that are approved. Thank you very much.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Anything online, Drew? I'll close public comments. Board comments. Any board comments? All right, I'm going to close board comments. I'll close board comments and I'll entertain an adjournment. Do we hear a motion?
Motion for adjournment.
Support. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you all.